The Rangers beat the Blackhawks 6-2, and Mika Zibanejad plays arguably his best game of the season. Is Mika back?
You're Locked on the New York Rangers, your daily podcast on the New York Rangers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, Blue Shirts fans, to episode number 1219 of the Locked On New York Rangers podcast. I'm your host, John Chick. Just want to thank you guys, as always, for making Locked On New York Rangers your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. And today's episode of Locked On New York Rangers is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you will get started with $200 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com today to get started. And we are, of course, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So the Rangers going into Chicago and taking care of business, posting a 6-2 victory. We might as well get this portion of the episode out of the way right here off the top of the show. I can acknowledge the fact that the Chicago Blackhawks right now are not exactly a top-tier team that's going to be lifting the Stanley Cup once this season is all said and done. I can acknowledge that. We can all understand that. But the bottom line, wins have been hard to come by for this New York Ranger team. And I think we all owe it to ourselves as fans of our beloved Blue Shirts to at least enjoy this one a little bit. I don't care if they're playing the best team in the league, the worst team in the league, or anybody in between. A win is a win. The Rangers win there. They took care of business, and they picked up what was largely a stress-free victory on this afternoon here. There haven't been many of those. When's the last time you actually felt comfortable watching a Ranger game? When's the last time you actually felt like, yep, the Rangers have got this one in the bag. They're going to, close things out here and make sure they come away with 2 points. And for the most part in this game, it felt like the Rangers were pretty much always in control. Chicago did get the first goal of the game. There was also a little bit of a slow start for the Rangers in the third period, I thought. Felt like they kind of came out slow, maybe thinking they were home free or something. I'm not really sure. But the bottom line, other than that, nitpicking those areas of the game, I thought the Rangers, once again, were largely in control, spent a bunch of time on the attack, and obviously were very opportunistic, posting 6 goals on the afternoon. And as I mentioned just a second ago, Mika Zibanejad plays what very easily could have been his best game of the season. It's got to be on the Mount Rushmore of good performances for Mika so far in this campaign. To answer the question that I proposed right at the start of the episode, right in the intro there, is Mika back? We can hope so. I think we all collectively need to see more than just one good game against the Blackhawks to know for sure. But the bottom line, that was still an encouraging performance from Mika Zibanejad, who has really heard it from a lot of Ranger fans this season, yours truly included, and I'm sure some of you as well. But yeah, for my money, this very easily could have been his best game of the season. You might hear that, or rather, if you didn't happen to catch this game, you just look at the box score and you see that the Rangers scored 6 goals and he only had 1 assist, did Mika. You might look at that and think like, what was so special about that? The bottom line, Mika was making plays in all 3 zones during this game. He just seemed a lot more active, engaged, confident in his play, just ready to go. And the most encouraging thing to me is that despite him making a really rough mistake early in the game in the form of a turnover, Mika didn't let it affect his performance the rest of the way. If anything, maybe it motivated him a little bit. And same thing with the Rangers as a whole. You give up that early goal to the Blackhawks after a bad turnover. Trocheck took a penalty in the first minute of the game or whatever it was there. You could have had that feeling, whether you're Mika or the Rangers as a whole, once again, that oh my God, here we go again. Things are going to snowball and this is not going to be our day. Mika and the Rangers did anything but that. To talk about the rough start to this game for Mika. So Mika gave away the puck in the offensive zone, and then it comes back into the Ranger zone. Mika briefly picks it up. He's along the boards. It gets taken away from him, and then the puck goes to kind of like an empty spot in the ice, kind of at the top of the zone there. And it's kind of a 50-50 puck, but Bedard is able to pick it up. Mika just kind of reaches for it and misses it. And then the next thing you know, it's in the back of the net, and the Rangers are down 1-0. And again, that here you go feeling was kind of prevalent, I think, probably for a lot of people that have been watching this team recently, but they turned it around to their credit. And again, give Mika credit for bouncing back and once again playing one of his best overall games of the season. He had a hand in several goals that the Rangers scored in this one. Again, only the 1 official assist. That was a doozy. We'll get to that in just a second. But again, very active. There was a situation where the Rangers were looking for the equalizer early in this game. Mika's behind the net, passes to Smith in the left circle. Smith then centers for Brodzinski. Brodzinski looking for the tip in, wasn't quite able to convert there, but a good play by Mika, finding Smith, making a crisp pass there. And then the game time goal that tied it at 1-1, you had a situation where Mika won the faceoff in the offensive zone. So that's obviously an important first step here. And then Rangers basically just cycle the puck, a fairly long offensive zone possession here. Mika was in the middle of that. As it turned out, it ended up being Brodzinski that got the goal here. Mika did not get an assist, but he was still involved in this play. And like I said, the whole thing started with him winning the faceoff. So again, baby steps. If we can nitpick all the mistakes that Mika Zibanejad has made, which Lord knows we've done that. I've done that. I'm sure a lot of you guys have done that as well. Then we can point out some of the little things that he did right in this game that obviously worked to help the Rangers. And we saw that here with the offensive zone faceoff win, leading to a goal by Johnny Brodzinski, who was back in the lineup for the first time. Kreider sat with an upper body injury. But then, a little bit later, Mika had a hand on the second goal as well. Mika was able to intercept a Blackhawks pass in the Chicago zone. And a quick chance here, Mika to VZ, VZ over to Fox for an opportunity. It was not in the net. The Rangers weren't able to convert there, but the Rangers keep going. A nice, strong offensive zone possession here where the Rangers were relentless. Will Borgen ends up scoring the goal, but he made a heck of a play even before that. He was able to keep the puck in right at the blue line, didn't allow the Blackhawks to clear, kept the play alive. Rangers keep swarming. And again, Mika doesn't end up with an assist here. They eventually work the puck over to Borgen. Borgen scores from far away to give the Rangers a 2-1 lead. But again, Mika was involved in everything. He was right in the middle of everything. He was the one that stole the pass in the Chicago zone, and the puck never left the Chicago zone for the rest of the shift, and it ends up being a goal for the Rangers. So once again, Mika making a really nice play there. See, a play like this that Mika makes, to me, this is more encouraging than what we saw 2 games ago when Mika scored, from the doorstep, little tip-in goal there. Smith had scored, it had gotten through the goalie, and Mika, cleaned up the loose change on the doorstep. Now, they all count, and that's nice to see Mika score a goal of any kind. But to me, a play like this is so much more encouraging. To see him anticipate the pass, aggressively come up and play it and intercept it, make a quick pass, give the Rangers a chance to score very quickly there after the turnover. They weren't able to do it, but the play stays alive. The puck stays in the Chicago zone, and it ultimately does lead to a 2-1 lead for the Rangers. And that's vintage Mika, working hard in all 3 zones, being opportunistic and just, playing instinctive hockey. And we saw that here. And we've seen that, so few and far between this season that it was nice to see Mika come through for his team in a spot such as that. And then, of course, the assist that I alluded to a little bit earlier, this one gave the Rangers a 4-1 lead. You had Smith on a breakaway. He was sprung by Mika. Mika basically was back in the Rangers zone. And as soon as he picked up the puck, he's looking up the ice and he sees Smith there. So hopefully the two of them starting to build a little bit of controversy, starting to build a little bit of chemistry. And with Smith, we don't know how much longer he's going to be here. It depends how the Rangers play it. The Rangers can turn things around and get things rolling a little bit. And Smith has played a little bit better recently, that maybe he does stick around past the trade deadline. If things continue to spiral and the Rangers can't get their season back going again, then Smith is probably going to be traded. But, Mika here was able to look up the ice, find Smith by himself, make a just perfect pass to the Chicago blue line. Smith was off to the races. He's in all alone. Little backhand, forehand action, I believe it was. And no, forehand, backhand, excuse me. And he scores through the 5-hole. And again, all set up by an excellent pass by Mika Zibanejad up the ice to find Smith. And that was assist number 400 in the career of Mika Zibanejad. So again, give everybody credit here. And Mika, it's a heck of an accomplishment. He's obviously been up against it this season, but we can still acknowledge when he hits a milestone like that, an impressive milestone such as 400 career assists. So great game by Mika. If he really wants to make it count, and if the Rangers really want to make this count as a team, then beat Dallas in the next one. That's not an easy task. Dallas is a good team. The Rangers beat them not too long ago, however, and this game's in Madison Square Garden, whereas they beat them in Dallas the last time. Beat a good team, and finally get a winning streak. It'd be their first back-to-back wins since the middle of November. I mean, it's time for that to happen again. And so obviously we hope that, it happens against the Dallas Stars on Tuesday. But we're going to keep everything rolling in just a second. I want to shift our attention to Filip Chytil, who I think for sure is in the running for the Masterson, maybe even for the Stephen McDonald Extra Effort Award as well. Gonna have some thoughts on that. He obviously had a 2-goal game here for the Rangers and continues his inspiring comeback that we've seen from Filip Chytil this year. So we'll get to that in just a second. All right, we just want to take a minute to let everybody know that today's episode of Locked On New York Rangers is brought to you by our very good friends at FanDuel. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same-game parlays, and so much more. Visit the website and check out all the amazing things on which you can lay a bet. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, we just want to take a minute to thank you guys, as always, for making Locked On New York Rangers your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. And in our next episode, we don't have a game to discuss. We're going to talk about the finals of the World Juniors here. USA and Finland are currently tied at 3. So if you see me glancing in that direction every once in a while, that's what I'm looking for. Gabe Pro had a primary assist on the first goal for the United States. It's been a heck of a game so far. And yeah, there will be a few minutes left when I'm done here. So definitely looking forward to checking that out. But the big thing that I want to talk about in the next episode is going to be some of these recent trade rumors. It sounds like, the Rangers and Canucks, a lot of people are reporting this, that the two of them have been in discussions. The Canucks want a locker room shakeup, seemingly like the Rangers do. Sounds like Elias Pettersson and JT Miller are not getting along all that well. So it's possible that at least one of them might be on the move. And who was it? I want to say it was Nick Kiprios who was saying that JT Miller would only waive his no move clause to come to the Rangers. So that's interesting. Gonna have some more thoughts on that in the next episode. Honestly, I'm not really feeling a deal for either one of those two players, but I'll elaborate on why in the next episode. For right now, let's continue to enjoy this win that the Rangers got over the Blackhawks, and let's go ahead and talk about Filip Chytil. And I want to talk about something specifically that I mentioned on Twitter earlier today, the very simple fact that I think that Will Cooley's only competition for the Stephen McDonald Extra Effort Award is indeed Filip Chytil. I saw a couple of other people throw out some names, maybe Jonathan Quick, maybe Adam Edstrom. Dark horse candidates, I would say the two of them, but for me, it's got to be one of these two players. I mean, Will Cooley just goes out there. He's a bull in a china shop every single game. He's had something of a breakout season. He's cooled off a little bit recently in terms of the scoring, but man, this guy's going out there and just grinding and working hard every single night. And then Filip Chytil, I mean, everything that he's been through, with the concussions and whatnot, the fact that he's just playing hockey in general right now is an awesome story. And when you look at the way the season has gone for the Rangers recently, I mean, Filip Chytil is one of the only bright spots whatsoever. You look at what he's done this year, 10 goals and 7 assists in 32 games. These are not staggering Hall of Fame numbers, and I understand that. But the bottom line, again, you've got to understand what Filip Chytil went through. You've got to understand the fact that he had all those concussions last year, only played 10 regular season games, a handful of playoff games, no goals at all for Filip Chytil last season. He's got 10 goals. He could easily end up with 20 or even more once this season is all said and done. I mean, he could flirt with 25 goals very, very easily. And this is coming from somebody that never really plays in the top 6. I mean, they might juggle the lines every once in a while. And we'll see a quick cameo for Filip Chytil, on the second line. They had Mika on the third line for a while. That will happen every once in a while. But for the most part, this guy's been locked in as the third line center for pretty much the entire season. He gets very precious few minutes on the power play. I mean, you guys know the Rangers' second power play unit just doesn't really play that much. And when they get on the ice, there's, 30 seconds to go in the power play or whatever it is. So he's putting up those numbers, getting almost no power play time and also getting no time in the top 6. So that's very, very impressive. And the thing that makes it even more impressive than what I just said, we all thought his career could be over. I mean, we had that scary incident last year where, he's out there with the healthy scratches. I think it was, shocking, right? That Zach Jones was among the healthy scratches. That's a whole other story. But he was out there with Zach Jones and Jake Lecision, and just fell down on the ice, just collapsed and had to be helped off by the two of them. And, there's no guarantees at that point that this dude's ever going to be back. And he's back and playing some quality hockey for the Rangers this year. We saw him have to miss some time this season. I believe the final tally was 7 games with the upper body injury. We were all fearing that it was another concussion. He comes back and he's done a heck of a job here. I believe he's now got a 4-game point streak, if I'm not mistaken, as far as in recent games here. Yeah, 4 games. He ends up with 2 goals in this game. So in his past 4 games, Filip Chytil now has 4 goals and 1 assist. So obviously picking it up and, doing some good work for the Rangers in terms of contributing offensively. So good for him. That's obviously great to see. The first goal in this game, we saw a little give and go between Berard and Fox. Fox goes in deep with the puck, passes back for Filip Chytil. Chytil then rips it and scores from the right circle, makes it 3-1 in favor of the Rangers. And again, that was the goal that ran his point streak up to 4 games. And then the second goal that he scored made it 6-2. A little bit of a lucky bounce here, but if anybody on this planet, if anybody in this league deserves it, it is Filip Chytil. You get a shot by Keandre Miller from the blue line, save made, puck deflects back the other way off of Filip Chytil into the net. They all count, and 6-2 lead for the New York Rangers at that point. But, it's really too bad what an under-the-radar storyline that this has become here, really among all of us Ranger fans, and certainly I think among general hockey fans as well. And there's obviously a reason for that. You look at what's happened this season, it's easy to forget about it. We all should be more cognizant of it than we are, and I include myself in that as well. But when you've got a situation where there's just all this drama and all this bad play and fire Drury and fire Laviolette and trade this guy and waive that guy and all the drama with Barclay Goodrow in the offseason, all the drama with Jacob Trouba in the offseason, all the drama with Jacob Trouba during the season, the trade of Jacob Trouba, the drama with Capo Caco, the trade of Capo Caco, the drama with Zach Jones, on and on and on, benchings, healthy scratchings, the whole 9 yards. Things just haven't gone well. And now we've got an injury to Igor Shesterkin. There have been, a couple more injuries this season than I think the Rangers are typically used to dealing with. I'm not going to put all their problems on injuries because I just don't think that's even close to being accurate. But yeah, I mean, it's been a lot. And with all this chaos, swarming, and the bleep storm that the Rangers have been at times this season, very easy to forget that, Filip Chytil has made a very inspiring comeback here, and he's out there doing his thing and contributing to this Ranger team on a night in and night out basis. And there was somebody on Twitter, don't have the username in front of me right now, so I do apologize for that. But this is something that I thought about too. But this person suggested that Filip Chytil might be in the running for the Bill Masterson this year. I think that's entirely possible. And for anybody that isn't familiar with the Bill Masterson trophy or just needs a refresher, this is, right from the website, this is the player that it's awarded to every season. It is awarded annually to the NHL player who best exemplifies the qualities of perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to hockey. And the way this works is all 32 teams nominate one of their own guys. I gotta believe at the very, very least, Filip Chytil is certainly going to be the Rangers nominee. I think from the second that he stepped onto the ice this year, it was pretty much a lock that he would at least be the Ranger nominee. Now, as far as, is he going to win the trophy? Is he going to be one of the finalists or anything like that? I can't say that for sure. I'd have to look at all the other nominees and, maybe there's a couple of guys or just one guy out there that have been through even more than Filip Chytil has. Without thinking about the other 31 teams, that's entirely possible. It's fine. If that were to be the case and the award goes to somebody else, then I'm going to be completely okay with that. But man, Filip Chytil definitely deserves some consideration for that. I think pretty much anybody would agree with that. And he's got my vote. I mean, they didn't ask me for a vote, but if I was going to give one, Filip Chytil would be my guy. And as far as the Stephen McDonald Extra Effort Award is concerned, I think it really comes down to either, Chytil or Cooley. And I think my vote would still be for Will Cooley just because of the way that he plays night in and night out. But Filip Chytil, he's going to at least give everybody something to think about, I would imagine. So we shall see what happens there. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it's a two-man race for that award this season. Going to keep everything rolling just a second here. I want to shift our attention to Louis Domingue making his season debut for the Rangers, having a really strong game, and the Ranger defense stepping up and playing better than it has certainly in recent games. And we'll get to all that good stuff in just a second. All right, we just want to take a minute to let everybody know that today's episode of Locked On New York Rangers is brought to you by Rocket Money. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions that you forgot about or that you were paying for twice? It's definitely happened to all of us. I had a few subscriptions that I didn't even realize that I was still paying for, and Rocket Money made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. All right, let's go ahead and keep everything rolling here and close out today's episode by talking a little bit about Louis Domingue, who made his season debut for the New York Rangers. And I thought the team defense as well was also good, but we got to start with Domingue. He ends up stopping 25 of 27 shots in this game. He is now 2-0 as a member of the New York Rangers. I'm sure a lot of you guys remember he came up for one game last season, and I think it was the Wild beat them 3-1, 4-1. He only gave up one goal. I know that for sure, but I'll say what I said when Domingue was called up. He's a solid insurance policy for situations like this when you have a goalie go down, get injured. And in the case of the Rangers right now, they've actually got two injured goalies because Igor's out, and so too is Dylan Garand. He might be back. I would have to double check that, but I know Dylan Garand was dealing with a minor injury with the AHL. So you call up Louis Domingue, and there's a back-to-back here, third game in 4 days. You can put him out there and hopefully just play some solid defense behind him, and I think the Rangers largely did that. But for me, Domingue, his biggest moment of this game when he really kind of stepped up and came up clutch for the Rangers was at the start of the third period. Now, you can't really call this like ultimate crunch time here and like this is a massively clutch saves because the Rangers were up by 3 goals at this point in the game, but they gave up a late goal in the second period that knocked it down to 5-2. And again, you guys know how it's gone this season with the Rangers. Things tend to snowball on them a little bit, and they just can't stop the bleeding in situations like this. So the last thing I want to see is the Rangers give up a goal in the first minute or two of the third period here. Then it's 5-3, and then all of a sudden you've got a game. And Louis Domingue made sure that did not happen. There was a situation where Bertuzzi came up the left side, and Domingue got a piece of the shot with his glove, deflected it away from the net. This is in the first, minute 30 or so of the third period. And then there's the one that everybody was talking about where Domingue basically threw his stick at the puck. The shot was deflected, and Domingue had to react quickly. And, Domingue, he's got the righty glove, right? He's a lefty, so he's got the glove on his right hand. And, he's raising his left arm, trying to get it with the blocker. And then the next thing you know, his stick is flying in the air, and the puck deflects off of that and stays out. And Domingue was asked about that after the game. This is what he had to say about it. The puck changed direction at the very last second, and I just reacted and threw my stick. Luckily, the referee didn't give me anything on that. It's an extension of my arm, and then I just desperately let go of my stick to get a little extra reach. It just found my stick, which is kind of funny. And whatever works. There was a situation not too long after that then too where Domingue had to make a really strong save through traffic, and then immediately after there was a wraparound try. He was able to get his skate up against the pipe and prevent, a stuff-in chance on the doorstep there. But overall, he played well. He made a really nice pass up the ice in one situation as well. He came way out of his net. The Blackhawks were going for a change, so he passed it the other way up the left side to Johnny Brodzinski, hit him in stride at the Chicago blue line. And this is what he had to say about his pass after the game. Domingue, this is. First of all, I always wanted to be a forward. I don't know why I made that decision. I strongly recommend young goalies to be a forward. It's not for everyone, certainly. My son being the first one, and I'm losing that battle. So Domingue, I've always heard that he's kind of like a character. He's got some personality in there and, seems to have a lot of fun. Look, the Rangers can use any injection of life personality that they can get right now. I certainly imagine that Jonathan Quick is going to be back out there against the Stars. And obviously, if Igor comes back from his injury, he's eligible to return against the Stars. I don't know if he'll be back or not. But if he is, he'll be back out there in the crease against Dallas. But this is cool. It's a feel-good story. Louis Domingue, he's been doing his thing in the AHL for the Wolfpack this season and last season. Gets back up in the AHL and plays a strong game here for the Rangers. Again, weaker opponent, but who cares? He still played well, made a lot of saves, did everything that the Rangers needed him to do in this game. It's also worth pointing out, since we're talking about Domingue right now, he is a UFA after this season is over. And I always thought it was kind of weird that he signed with the Rangers because he signed with the Rangers before the start of last season. And by that point, Jonathan Quick had already signed with the Rangers, and obviously Igor is here. So you're not going to make the NHL roster. Like you're just not. It's not going to happen. And it just felt strange to me that he would sign on with a team where there's basically no path to the NHL, barring an injury, obviously. And the question that kind of begs for me is like, are there really 64 goalies in the NHL that are all better than Domingue? Because there's 32 teams. They all have 2 goalies. I mean, maybe there are. I don't know that for sure. And you look at his career stats, it's nothing to write home about, but it's good enough where you think like, okay, this guy could at least be somebody's backup. So if he wants to be back in the AHL next year, I would imagine he'd sign somewhere else, but we don't know what Quick is going to do. Will Quick be back? And if he's not back, do they go with Domingue as the backup, or is Dylan Garand now on the NHL roster and they go with him? That could go a lot of different ways. So I'm curious to see how it goes. But, like I said, for an insurance policy, you could do a lot worse than Louis Domingue. And it was cool to see him get called up and answer the bell and have a strong game for the Rangers here. Shifting our attention now to the Ranger team defense. I thought they played some of it in this game, which was nice to see, as opposed to no defense being played at all. And again, you look at the Blackhawks, not an offensive juggernaut, 2.53 goals per game, but the Rangers shut them down. Blackhawks only had 6 shots on goal in the first period. They only had 7 shots on goal in the second period. They did have 14 in the third, but overall a very manageable 27 shots on goal allowed total for the Blackhawks in this game. And beyond that, Rangers allowed much fewer odd man rushes in this game. The Rangers seem to be defending the front of their net a lot better. I don't remember too many instances where, the Blackhawks just kind of set up shop there. That drives you nuts as a Ranger fan when you see opponents do that. Fortunately, we didn't see really any of that in this game. And something else that I thought, maybe flew under the radar a little bit, the Rangers only took 1 penalty in this game, and they didn't get any power plays themselves. That was the only penalty of the game. Trocheck took a penalty like 45 seconds into the action, and, the Blackhawks obviously did not score on the ensuing power play. But when you're not taking penalties, you're not hooking and grabbing and tripping and all this stuff, it's probably an indication that you're defending quite a bit better. The Rangers have to stay out of the penalty box because as good as the penalty kill has been on the whole this season, it's scuffled a little bit recently. There have been a couple of shaky games. So nice to see. I think the fact that they only took 1 penalty and, in fact, 0 penalties in the last 58 minutes, that's an indication, too, that the Rangers obviously defended better in this game. And on top of that, we've taken some shots at the Ranger defensemen from time to time. They defended better in this game. They also contributed offensively in this game. I mentioned the goal scored by Will Borgen. We also had 2 assists by Adam Fox, 2 assists by Ryan Lindgren, 1 assist by K'Andre Miller. So a total of 1 goal and what was that? 5 assists by the Ranger defenseman. That's nice to see as well. And all this kind of begs the question, again, we like to be optimistic on here. We like to be glass half full. Was this a get-right game for the New York Rangers? It's hard to say so far. And again, I know a lot of people are going to point to the fact that it was the Blackhawks, but here's the thing. For a get-right game, you don't necessarily have to be an elite team in the NHL. You don't even really have to be a good team in the NHL. It's just what it sounds like. It's a get-right game. You can take advantage of maybe a weaker opponent and get back to basics, start doing some of the little things a little bit better. Obviously, just competing harder. I mean, that's first and foremost, but also creating some more offense, defending a heck of a lot better. And we saw a lot of that from the Rangers in this game. There were a lot of Ranger players in this game that I thought played better than they have in a while. We already talked about Mika. I thought K'Andre Miller had a better game than he's had recently. We saw the Panarin line score a goal. How about that? We had Lafreniere. He snapped his 8-game pointless streak. Secondary assist here. He passes to Panarin. Panarin with a shot from the blue line, Trocheck with the redirection. I mean, that line's got to get going. They were absolutely one of the elite NHL lines in the entire league last year. And I guess there have been flashes every once in a while, but not nearly enough. And, that trio needs to figure it out and get things going and do a lot more offensively than they've been doing recently. And obviously, at least they score a goal in this game. Again, baby steps. None of this convinces me 100% that the Rangers are fixed. But the possibility is there. And there's one other thing I want to talk about here before we call it. I wanted to go ahead and take a quick look at the Rangers' upcoming schedule because it's very interesting, at least to me. And did I close that tab? Let's go ahead and bring it up here one more time. So obviously we know the Rangers beat the Blackhawks here. In the Rangers' next, we're going to take a look here now at the next 9 games for the New York Rangers. The next 4 games are difficult. This is going to be a tough stretch here, and the Rangers are definitely going to be tested. They are at home against Dallas, at home against the Devils, at Vegas, and at Colorado. That's a tough stretch. Those are all teams that you certainly expect to be in the playoffs, teams that I think probably in all 4 cases you would have to say are at least something of contenders to be the final team standing and the Stanley Cup champions. So here's my plea to the Rangers. Here's all I want them to do here, really. Just go 2-2 in those 4 games. I know that's not a high bar, and I know you want to aim higher than that, but if you watch this team play hockey over the last couple of months here, I think if you just survive that stretch and go 2-2, you avoid disaster. You at least beat, look, if you go 2-2, then you've beaten 2 very good teams and 2 teams that are significantly far ahead of you in the NHL standings. So 2-2, I'll take it. Hopefully they at least play well and say like 3 out of the 4 games. If they go 2-2, I'll take that. I'll sign up for that right now. Usually I want more than that. But again, based on what we've seen recently, 2-2, I'll take that. After that 4-game stretch, let's say they get through it at 2-2. The next 5 games after that, at Utah, home against Columbus. Now, both those teams have played better this season and certainly recently as well, but I don't think they're juggernauts, at least not yet. So you're at Utah, home against Columbus, at Montreal, home against the Senators, home against the Flyers. These are 5 teams that, they're all, except for the Canadiens, they're all sort of like fringe playoff teams right now. And even the Canadiens, you can't really say that they're dead and buried because nobody is right now. But those are 5 very winnable games. And that could be a situation where the Rangers can bank a lot of points. If they come out of the first 4 games of this 9-game stretch, like I said, 2-2, maybe they're feeling better. They're going toe-to-toe with these elite teams around the league. And they can then, really step on the gas against these teams that they should be beating. Now, of course, that's a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda, and I understand that. And I'm being probably overly optimistic here, but what choice do we have, man? We're Ranger fans, and we want this team to get going again. If you can hold your own in this upcoming 4-game stretch here, then I think there's a real opportunity to bank some points and crawl back into this thing and maybe make management think twice about, selling off this player, selling out that player. We will see what happens. But very, very interested to see what happens next for the Rangers. And if you really want to make this win against the Blackhawks count for something, then get out there on Tuesday and beat the Stars. Easier said than done, obviously, but if you lose to the Stars, if you go out there and lay an egg and they just destroy you, then what did this win even mean, right? So go out there, find a way to get the job done. They beat the Stars not too long ago. Go out there and beat them again. Again, not a small ask, and I understand that, but figure out a way. It's gut check time. It's time to figure out a way. So we'll call it there. If you guys would like to get in touch with this podcast, please send an email to lockedonnyrangers@gmail.com. Once again, that is lockedonnyrangers@gmail.com. Definitely give us a follow on Twitter as well, @LO_NY_Rangers. Once again, that's @LO_NY_Rangers. And definitely subscribe to the Locked On New York Rangers YouTube channel. Thanks again, guys. I will see you next time.